Somebody is about to lie to you about this team.
I don't believe
It'll
this.
come from a highlight reel, a loud voice on a podcast, a betting line telling you the U.S. is winning this World Cup, or telling you they have no business dreaming. You don't know which one to believe, because you've been burned by both. Here's the number nobody says flat out. In 96 years of World Cup soccer, the United States has won exactly one knockout game. One. A single win in the elimination rounds across nearly a century of this tournament. There's a name for what American soccer fans carry into every tournament: the believer's tax. You let yourself hope. The hope takes something from you on the way out. You pay it anyway because you can't stop. The question is whether 2026 finally pays something back. To answer that, honestly, start in South Korea. June 21st, 2002, the day the ceiling got its name. The United States was 90 minutes from the World Cup semifinal. Not they showed up. Not they competed. The semifinal, right there. The run beat Portugal 3-2 in the group. Then Mexico in the round of 16, 2-0. That result, that single afternoon, is still the only knockout win this program owns at a World Cup. 24 years later, one win, full stop, quarterfinal, Germany, three-time world champions. And what the highlights leave out, the U.S. was the better team for long stretches. Then a U.S. shot goes goal-bound, and a German midfielder named Torsten Frings throws his hand out and swats it off the line. A handball, clear. A penalty and a red card anywhere on earth. The referee waved play on. Germany won 1-0. The United States went home, not beaten, erased, by a hand the one man who mattered never saw. Call it the ceiling. Not a wall you crash into, a ceiling you press your hands flat against in the dark. Certain there's more room above, never allowed to find out. Translated into one sentence: the United States has never won 2 consecutive knockout games at a World Cup. One miracle, done. The game after the miracle, never. That is the number this 2026 team is walking in to break. But first, the night that made the ceiling worse. October 10th, 2017, a half-empty stadium in Couva, Trinidad. The United States needed 1 point, a draw against a team already eliminated, playing for nothing. They lost 2-1. A Trinidad midfielder named Alvin Jones hit a shot from 35 yards that had no business going anywhere near the net. It went in. And just like that, the U.S. did not qualify for the 2018 World Cup. First time since 1986. An entire generation of American soccer infrastructure, the academies, the money, the speeches, collapsed into a swamp on a Tuesday night in Trinidad. This wasn't a disappointment. It was a death. But while the system was burning, something was growing in Europe, quietly. A teenager from Pennsylvania starting games for Dortmund. A kid from Texas forcing his way into Schalke. Another inside Barcelona's academy. They weren't products of the system that drowned in Couva. They'd left it behind. People started calling them the Golden Generation. Not good for America, good, full stop. They qualified for 2022, made it out of the groups, lost to the Netherlands in the round of 16, back under the ceiling, same as always. Then Copa America 2024 on home soil fell apart in the group stage. Coach fired in weeks, and U.S. soccer did something it had never done. Hired Mauricio Pochettino, Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea, and Argentine, brought in to teach Americans how to win. His first real test, March 2025, dead last. Bad soccer, worse attitudes, same old story. Except for one detail. The 19-year-old who scored the only U.S. goal that night, who walked off the field and broke down in tears, head in his hands, was Christian Pulisic, the captain of this 2026 team. He didn't read about the worst night in American soccer. He lived it. He is the survivor of the exact wound the country is now asking him to heal. The word Pochettino keeps demanding from this team is arrogance, not confidence, arrogance. An Argentine from a country where they put Maradona somewhere just below God tells the most self-assured nation on earth that its biggest weakness on a soccer field is that it's too humble. Think about how insane that is. Americans are arrogant about everything: business, the military, basketball. They walk in already certain they'll win. On a soccer field, for 40 years, the U.S. has apologized, happy to be here, proud just to compete. Pochettino heard every one of those phrases, and he hated every single word, because the ceiling was never built out of talent. It was built out of permission. The U.S. has always played like a team waiting to be told it's allowed to win. Late 2024, Pochettino changed the intention: win the ball high, be explosive, punish every mistake. 5 wins in 6. They beat Uruguay 5-1, a team that lives in the latter rounds. For the first time since Trinidad, the U.S. didn't look like a team hoping to hang on. It looked like a team hunting. And now the weapons: Pulisic at AC Milan, their best attacker. But for 40 years, this program had one fatal flaw: it could not find a striker, a real one. That hole is gone. Balogun at Monaco, 19 goals. Ricardo Pepi at PSV, 19 goals. Wright in England, 17, enough to drag his entire club into the Premier League. 3 American forwards, 3 countries, same year. The position that haunted 2 generations, suddenly the deepest part of the roster. McKennie at Juventus. Tyler Adams strangling the other team's best idea before it becomes a goal. Anthony Robinson, one of the fastest fullbacks alive. Gio Reyna, Claudio's son, with the vision to crack a tight game open in a single touch. And they're playing at home. Every group game, every knockout round on U.S. soil. 80,000 people screaming for a team most of them discovered 3 weeks ago. In a sport decided by inches and nerves, that noise is worth a goal. South Korea rode that sound to the semifinal in 2002. Morocco reached the Final Four in 2022 on the same blueprint. The one thing this team has never been able to manufacture from inside the locker room, belief, will be sitting right there in the stands. Strongest American squad ever assembled. Best possible circumstances, perfect moment. Which is exactly why what comes next is so hard to hear. Everything I just described happened in a friendly. The U.S. is the host. They never had to qualify. While Mexico and Argentina clawed through years of do-or-die qualifiers, the U.S. played exhibitions. Pochettino has been here 2 years. More than half his games mean nothing. The 5-1 against Uruguay, nothing on the line. And the one time the stakes turned real, March 2025, dead last. Gio Reyna has spent the season on a bench in Germany, starved of minutes. Tyler Adams' fitness for June is in genuine doubt. And the people who bet on this for a living, who feel nothing, price this team at a round of 16 exit. Second weekend, gone. Then there's the wall nobody wants to say out loud. In 96 years, the World Cup has only ever been lifted by a nation from Europe or South America. Only ever. Not once has a team from North America, Asia, or Africa lifted that trophy. Not once. The United States doesn't just have to break their own ceiling, they have to break the oldest, most stubborn rule in the entire sport. If you're still here, subscribe. The long, honest version. No fairy tales, no funerals. Just the story, straight. So here's the honest answer. I don't know. Nobody does. Not the analysts, not the bookmakers, not Pochettino. Anyone handing you a clean yes or no is guessing dressed up as someone who knows. What is actually on the table? Crashing out in the groups would be a humiliation this program might not recover from for a decade. The cold money says round of 16 and out. But the dream that's real, smaller than the trophy and bigger than anything they've done in 24 years, is the quarterfinal. And the game past it. The second consecutive knockout win. Win that game, and they break what 2002 built. Go back to Couva, a 19-year-old on his knees, head in his hands, hiding from a country that had stopped watching. This June, he lifts his head. Same man, same flag on his chest. No referee, no hand on the line. No ghost from any year before gets to decide how this one ends before he plays it. For the first time in 24 years, we don't know what happens next.